Dal Alto, Encyclical of Pope Leo XIII on Freemasonry in Italy. To the bishops, the clergy, and the people of Italy, venerable brethren and beloved children, health and apostolic benediction. Italy has come to this. From the height of the apostolic throne, divine providence has placed us to watch over the salvation of all nations. We look upon Italy, in whose bosom, by an act of singular predilection, God has established the see of his vicar, and from which come to us, at the present time, many and most bitter sorrows. It is not any personal offense that saddens us, nor the privations and sacrifices imposed upon us by the present condition of things, nor the outrages and scoffs which an insolent press has full power to hurl every day against us. If only our person were concerned, and not the ruin to which Italy, threatened in its faith, is hastening, we should bear these offences without complaint, rejoicing even to repeat what one of our most illustrious predecessors said of himself: "If the captivity of my country did not every moment for each day increase, as to the contempt and scorn of myself, I should joyfully be silent." But besides the independence and dignity of the Holy See, the religion itself and the salvation of a whole nation are concerned, of a nation which from the earliest times opened its bosom to the Catholic faith, and has ever jealously preserved it. Incredible it seems, but it is true. To such a pass have we come, that we have to fear for this Italy of ours the loss of even the faith. Many times have we sounded the alarm, to give warning of the danger, but we do not therefore think that we have done enough. In face of the continued and fierce assaults that are made, we hear the voice of duty calling upon us more powerfully than before to speak to you again. Venerable brethren, to your clergy, and to the whole Italian people, as the enemy makes no truce, so neither you nor we must remain silent or inert. By the divine mercy, we have been constituted guardians and defenders of the religion of the people entrusted to our care, pastors and watchful sentinels of the flock of Christ. And for this flock we must be ready, if need be, to sacrifice everything, even life itself. The object of this encyclical? We shall not say anything new, for facts have not changed from what they were, and we have had at other times to speak of them when occasion was given. But we now intend to recapitulate these facts in some way, and to group them into one picture, so as to draw out for general instruction the consequences which flow from them. The facts are incontestable, which have happened in the clear light of day, not separated one from another, but so connected together as in their series to reveal with fullest evidence a system of which they are the actual operation and development. This system is not new, but the audacity, the fury, and the rapidity with which it is now carried out are new. It is the plan of the sects that is now unfolding itself in Italy, especially in what relates to the Catholic religion and the Church, with the final and avowed purpose, if it were possible, of reducing it to nothing. It is needless now to put the Masonic sects upon their trial. They are already judged. Their ends, their means, their doctrines, and their action are all known with indisputable certainty. Possessed by the spirit of Satan, whose instrument they are, they burn like him with the deadly and implacable hatred of Jesus Christ and of his work, and they endeavor by every means to overthrow and fetter it. This war is at present waged more than elsewhere in Italy, in which the Catholic religion has taken deeper root, and above all in Rome, the center of Catholic unity, and the see of the universal pastor and teacher of the Church. It is well to trace from the beginning the different phases of this warfare. The war began by the overthrow of the civil power of the popes, the downfall of which, according to the secret intentions of the real leaders, afterwards openly avowed, was, under a political pretext, to be the means of enslaving at least, if not of destroying, the supreme spiritual power of the Roman pontiffs. That no doubt might remain as to the true object of this warfare, there followed quickly the suppression of the religious orders, and thereby a great reduction in the number of evangelical laborers for the propagation of the faith amongst the heathens, and for the sacred ministry and religious service of Catholic countries. Later, the obligation of military service was extended to ecclesiastics, with the necessary result that many and grave obstacles were put to the recruiting and due formation even of the secular clergy. Hands were laid upon ecclesiastical property, partly by absolute confiscation, and partly by charging it with enormous burdens, so as to impoverish the clergy and the church, and to deprive the church of what is necessary for its temporal support and for carrying on institutions and works in aid of its divine apostolate. This the sectaries themselves have openly declared. To lessen the influence of the clergy and of clerical bodies, one only efficacious means must be employed: to strip them of all their goods, and to reduce them to absolute poverty. So also the action of the state is of itself all directed to efface from the nation its religious and Christian character, from the laws and from the whole of official life. Every religious inspiration and idea is systematically banished, when not directly assailed. Every public manifestation of faith and of Catholic piety is either forbidden or under vain pretenses in 1,000 ways impeded. From the family are taken away its foundation and a religious constitution by the proclaiming of civil marriage, as it is called, and also by the entirely lay education which is now demanded, from the first elements to the higher teaching of the universities, so that the rising generations, as far as this can be effected by the state, have to grow up without any idea of religion, and without the first essential notions of their duties towards God. This is to put the axe to the root. No more universal and efficacious means could be imagined of withdrawing society and families and individuals from the influence of the Church and of the faith. To lay clericalism or Catholicism waste is in foundations and in its very source of life, namely in the school and in the family. Such is the authentic declaration of Masonic writers. Italy among the fallen. It will be said that this does not happen in Italy only, but in a system of government which states generally follow. We answer that this does not refute, but confirms what we are saying as to the designs and action of Freemasonry in Italy. Yes, this system is adopted and carried out wherever Freemasonry uses its impious and wicked action, and as its action is widespread, so in this anti-Christian system, widely applied. But the application becomes more speedy and general, and is pushed more to extremes in countries where the government is more under the control of the sect and better promotes its interests. Unfortunately, at the present time, the New Italy is of the number of these countries. Not today only has it become subject to the wicked and evil influence of the sects, but for some time past they have tyrannized over it as they like, with absolute dominion and power. Here the direction of public affairs in what concerns religion is wholly in conformity with the aspirations of the sects, and for accomplishing their aspirations, they find in a vow supporters and ready instruments of those who uphold the public power.
Now, more on the latest building collapse in New York. You might have heard a few moments ago, I was talking about the Salomon Brothers building collapsing, and indeed it has. Apparently that's only a few hundred yards away from where the World Trade Center towers were. And it seems that this was not a result of a new attack. It was because the building had been weakened during this morning's attacks. We'll probably find out more now about that from our correspondent, Jane Stanley. Jane, what more can you tell us about the Salomon Brothers building and its collapse?
Well, only really what you already know. Details are very, very sketchy. There's almost a sense downtown in New York behind me, down by the World Trade Centers, of just an area completely closed off as the rescue workers try to do their job. But this isn't the first building that has suffered as a result. We know that part of the Marriott Hotel next to the World Trade Center also collapsed as a result of this huge amount of falling debris from 110 floors of the two twin towers of the World Trade Center. As you can see behind me, the Trade Center appears to be still burning. We see these huge clouds of smoke and ash, and we know that behind that there's an empty piece of what was a very familiar New York